So hi, Jessica. It's nice to see you again. So what's been going on? How was your week since you came in last?
Well, I know that last week we had been discussing my fear of public speaking and like how every time I get in front of a big crowd, I can't express myself. I'm like super embarrassed. I start sweating. I get like nervous and I just freak out. Like I can't bring myself to the idea of actually talking in front of a big crowd. Like I know we've been trying to work on it. So there's just been a lot this week also at work. You want to talk about like?
Yeah, well, that's completely understandable that public speaking would make you feel all of those emotions. So tell me a little bit what happened since last week. I mean, we've been talking about this fear of yours for a while now. Can you describe the situation that you encountered this week a little?
Yeah, I really wanted to talk to you about it because at work we have like group meetings, and you know the supervisor like asks each one of us to bring something up if we have anything that we want to talk about, and you know usually I keep things to myself. So this week I had something that I did want to say, but you know just the idea of talking in front of everyone, like literally, like it made me get the shakes, and like I wasn't able to say anything, and like when it came to my turn and I froze, people kind of started laughing and giggling, like so that made it even worse for me.
That does sound, pretty a little crushing, I would assume, having your coworkers laugh at you. What was your thoughts about the situation?
Oh my God, so I was just thinking that I was stupid. I started thinking that, like, why can't I do this? Like, part of my job is to communicate, and I should be able to do this. I felt like I was useless at speaking to people. Just a bunch of thoughts running through my head.
What, having all of those negative thoughts run through your mind, what were some of the things that you did when that was happening? Like, if I were to be a fly on the wall during that meeting, what would I have seen you doing? Aside from, like, shaking and being super nervous.
Yeah, I was frozen. Like, I sat still. I looked like I was embarrassed. I panicked. Like, you would have just seen, like a statue.
Right. So you just completely froze.
Yeah. Like, didn't move.
Wow.
Yeah. I looked a hot mess.
That must have been, pretty tough to hear your coworkers laughing at you. I'm sorry you had to experience that. What did you want to get out of the situation?
I mean, I ultimately wanted to be able to participate and, like, bring up my problem for a discussion in front of everyone. That's what I really wanted to happen.
Right. How do you think we can modify your expectations of being able to, discuss during your meetings? How do you think we can change those expectations to be more realistic for you, knowing that you get anxious and very, I guess you could say, insecure about that? What do you think we can do to change that?
I guess there are certain, like, thoughts and behaviors that I can do to change, maybe. I don't know, really.
So, can you tell me what actually happened? You told me from your perspective that you froze and people were laughing, but what actually happened after the meeting?
Well,
or after, you froze?
Yeah. I guess what actually happened was my inability to, express myself. I wasn't able to speak in front of everyone, and I didn't get my point across.
Yeah. So, did you get the outcome that you wanted?
Oh, definitely not.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
And it happens to me all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I never get what I want because of this fear that I have.
Well, I'm glad that you brought it up this week and, that you came in especially to work on this. And I think that's great. That's the first step. So would you like to take this time to kind of look at your situation together and we can review what happened and kind of discuss how it might have turned out a little different?
Totally. That's why I'm here. I definitely want to see, how I can fix my problem.
Okay. All right. So let's go over the situation. So it's your morning meeting. You get in there. You normally don't have things to say, but today you did. And when it was your turn to finally share, you just froze, couldn't speak, you were shaking, you were nervous, sweating, and then some of your coworkers started laughing at you, and that was it. That was the end of you being able to express yourself there. So how did your first interpretation of what happened hurt or help you in getting what you wanted?
Well, definitely, me thinking that I was stupid, that my first interpretation did not help. It totally hurt my ego, my self-esteem at that moment.
What is an alternative interpretation that would have helped you to get what you wanted?
I think maybe if I would have tried reassuring myself, and telling myself I'm not stupid, I'm just a shy person, and that it's okay to be nervous because it's normal to speak in front of a large crowd, that people get nervous, and it happens to a lot of people when they have to speak in general and others are watching. So
yeah, I'm really glad that you pointed that out. Being nervous to speak in front of people is a very common fear, and a lot of people have it. It's not just you. So how will that new interpretation get what you want the next time that you have to present?
Well, I mean, maybe it'll give me a bit of encouragement the next time. I know that I was saying I'm stupid, but if I just reassure myself and, it's not that, it's that I'm shy, I think I'll have a little bit more courage to possibly at least speak. Or, even if I sound dumb, at least speaking is the first step.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds, like a goal that we can hopefully work on. How did your first behavior of just freezing help or hurt you in getting what you wanted?
That also totally hurt me because, if I just freeze, it kind of looks like something's wrong, and that's probably why people started laughing at me. So definitely was not helpful at all.
Yeah, I can understand that. So what alternative behavior would have helped you get what you wanted?
Maybe, if I tried letting everyone know ahead of time, hey guys, it's very hard for me to speak in front of people, so I'm just letting you know that I'm feeling very nervous. But I do want to share, just, work with me, this is not something that I'm comfortable with. I think that's a possible behavior.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think, telling them ahead of time, hey, I know last time I kind of froze, but it's because I'm scared to speak in front of people, so, work with me. I think people would be very willing and accepting if you disclose that in the beginning.
I also, sorry, I have another idea
of
what behavior. Maybe if I would have practiced, because I just realized, maybe me practicing what I want to say before I get to the meeting, it might help me, be prepared, or at least, have something, scripted in my mind of what I want to say. Maybe I'll just blurt it out because I practiced it so many times.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I mean, lots of people do that when they have to give, real big speeches to people. You're supposed to practice. So I think that's a great idea, too, kind of integrating both of those. So how do you think both of those new behaviors of practicing before your meeting and also letting your coworkers know that you're a little nervous, how do you think that'll help you get what you want?
I think it'll like be less likely for people to, think that like I'm doing something weird or that I'm being like embarrassing or that I'm stupid. Like I think it'll maybe provide some understanding of like where I'm coming from, and at least people will like either empathize, like, hey, like she's just having a hard time, and like they won't laugh because that really crushed my feelings.
Yeah.
So I think like it'll be helpful, definitely.
Yeah. So, to review, you were able to identify some new behaviors next time that you have to present a case study, and those are practicing before you get there, and then, kind of letting your coworkers know, hey, this is what I'm going through. So, on a scale from 1 to 10, how willing do you think you would be to integrate these two new behaviors? 1 being not at all, and 10 being totally.
I want to say like a 8.5, maybe a 9 even.
Okay, that's great. That's great. So I really hope that you can do that this upcoming week. And next week when you come in, I hope that, you can give me some good news and tell me that it worked for you.
Yeah, hopefully I can come back with like at least using one new technique. Or
even
skill.
One.
Yeah.
Even one of them is
baby steps.
Amazing. Yes. Yeah. All right.
Thanks for your help, though. This was like super insightful for me.
Great. I'm glad to hear that. So I'll see you next week. All right. Thanks for coming in.
Bye.